Pickering Springs, Chapter 1, The Swimming Pool. With a hard shove, the young teenage girl was propelled into the abyss of water before her. Her bright crimson swimsuit cut sharply against the cold blue of the pool as she flew into the air, her face freezing in disbelief, arms flailing wildly as she struggled to keep her balance. Laughter erupted just as her body hit the water with a thunderous splash. An adolescent boy with flaming red hair doubled over, clutching his stomach as he laughed. The girls sank beneath the surface, teenagers lining the pool's edge, watching with amusement. When she broke through the water again, her eyes were wide with a growing panic. Her head and shoulders barely cleared the surface as she reached desperately for something to keep herself afloat. There was nothing. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drum at 150 miles an hour. At least 50 teenagers crowded the pool and deck, yet no one paid her any attention. Some tossed a beach ball back and forth, while others splashed and joked, unaware or uncaring. The girl fought to stay above water, her arms flailing wildly. She had never had swimming lessons. Off to the side she could see her younger sister, Billy Sue, standing with a group of onlookers. The sound of Billy Sue's carefree laughter, bright and sharp, reached Catherine, a painful reminder of how unaware her sister was of the terror seizing her. Her arms burned with exhaustion, muscles screaming with effort. Slowly, helplessly, her body slipped beneath the cerulean water once more. This was the worst sensation she had ever known. A crushing certainty descended. She was going to die. There was nothing she could do to save herself. The last thing she saw before her eyes closed was a stream of bubbles escaping her mouth. The laughter eventually faded. The teenagers waited for Catherine to resurface. She didn't. What felt like a lifetime passed before her limp, drenched body was pulled from the pool by a young lifeguard on duty. He cradled her head and immediately began mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, a relatively new technique in those days. He pinched her nose and breathed into her mouth, his focus intense as he then pressed rhythmically on her chest to coax the life back into her lungs. Within seconds, Catherine began coughing violently, the taste of chlorine thick on her tongue. The lifeguard rolled her over onto her side so she wouldn't inhale more water. "Are you okay, miss?" he asked gently, his voice a calm anchor in the chaos. He held her head steady as he wrapped a cotton blanket around her trembling body, covering her one-piece bathing suit. I think so," Catherine whispered, her voice raspy. She was frightened and disoriented, blinking against the sudden brightness as she stared at the crowd that had been gathered around her, now hushed. The boy who had pushed her was nowhere to be seen. Billy Sue stood nearby, her carefree expression now replaced by something resembling alarm. "Oh, Catherine, I'm so sorry," her sister said, stepping forward. "I thought you were in the baby side of the pool. I wasn't thinking. I didn't realize you were in trouble." "My nose hurts so bad," Catherine managed, a fresh pang of pain shooting through her face. "I swallowed a lot of water." "Are you a friend or a relative?" the lifeguard asked Billy Sue. "I'm her sister," Billy Sue replied, wringing her hands. "Go to the office and have them call your parents while I stay with her," he said firmly. "Your nose may be broken or fractured. You could have hit the bottom of the pool or something on the way down." "I didn't fall in," Catherine said, her voice shaking, a shiver running down her spine. "I was pushed." "By who?" The lifeguard scanned the sea of teenage faces, signaling to the other guards that the situation was under control. "Your name is Catherine, right?" "Yes," she said shyly, her eyes still scanning the faces around them. "I need you to show me who pushed you in." Catherine hesitated. Pointing him over made her uneasy. But she knew What had happened was serious. She could have died. She turned slowly, scanning the crowd. "There," she said, lifting a tentative finger. "He's diving off the board." "Are you sure?" the lifeguard asked, his gaze following her direction. She nodded, a wave of cold washing over her. "I'll speak with him," he said, his tone firm. "You go sit under that tree in the shade and try to relax. I'll be right back." The lifeguard intercepted the boy just as he climbed from the pool. Reaching, he pulled him aside while his friends watched, their murmurs like a distant buzzing. Moments later, the two walked towards Catherine. The boy's red hair blazed in the sunlight, freckles scattered across his flushed face, his expression now sheepish. "I'm sorry," he mumbled, avoiding eye contact. "I thought you could swim. I was only messing around." "Do you realize what could have happened?" the lifeguard said sharply, his voice cutting through the air. "I think her nose is broken." "No way," the boy said, his eyes widening in genuine alarm. "Yes way. What you did was very serious. Get your things. You're banned from the pool for 2 weeks." 2 weeks? The boy protested, a flicker of outrage crossing his face. 14 days. If you come back before then, you'll be banned permanently." "Okay. I'll leave." He glanced at Catherine, a hint of genuine regret in his eyes. "I'm really sorry. I hope you're okay." Catherine was still shivering from shock and cold as she walked away, escorted toward the main gate. Billy Sue joined her. Her shoulders slumped, and said their mamma wanted them to take the bus home. After thanking the lifeguard, the sister gathered their belongings and walked to the bus stop. They sat quietly, waiting for the bus number 29, the silence heavy between them, until Catherine finally broke it. "When I was screaming and paddling for my life," she asked softly, her voice barely a whisper, "why didn't you call the lifeguard?" Billy Sue looked stricken, her face paling. "Catherine, I'm sorry. You don't think I would have let you drown, do you? I just got caught up in the moment. Everyone was laughing. I didn't know you were really in trouble. Please believe me." "Just forget it," Catherine said quietly, a hollow ache in her chest. "I was scared, and you were one of the last things I saw. Laughing. I couldn't believe it." Blood trickled from her nose as she leaned back, pressing the blanket against it to stop the flow. The sharp smell of chlorine clung to her skin, a lingering reminder of the terror. Catherine remained silent the rest of the ride home, ignoring Billy Sue's earnest attempts to apologize. She reminded herself of another day, 8 years earlier, when she had been terribly upset and had sought the comfort of her brother. Though so much time had passed, the memory felt as close as yesterday. She would never forget that day, not ever.